This is just a cover that came to me. It has a few curious features. You notice the amount up in the upper right-hand corner, there's an amount written down, 205. And here we have a stamp with 2, whatever the currency is, I don't even know. And then 05 over here, making up the total. But the 05 stamp seems to have been applied after this purple imprint. This looks like a registration imprint. And this stamp was added afterwards, and it also covers up whatever was written here. I'm not sure exactly what that would be. Well, you see this big R on the left? I believe that indicates that it's a registration stamp. Stamping. Right. This stamp down in the lower right looks like something that was put on by the U.S. Post Office. This is to provide a record of attempts to deliver.
Okay.
Right. It says April 24th and 1975, and it says first, second, and then return, and a date written in here, apparently when it was successfully delivered. I tried to find out what Little Slammer Limited was, but without any luck. There were various tools, and there's a golf club called the Little Slammer, but what Little Slammer was in Menlo Park, California, I just have no idea.
The registration mark is interesting because it's purple, which is obviously a hand stamp of some kind, and then you have the black number, which looked like it was put on separately.
Evidently, yes, that's a good point. Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, that would be the registration number. I mean, that does make sense. It's like instead of having the label with individual numbers, they have a stamp, and so that makes sense. And I think your hypothesis, I think the fact is that the blue Venezuela stamp was put on when someone realized that the postage wasn't quite enough.
Right.
But it, as you said, it's got the same cancel. It's got the same VEN cancel on as the two whatever currency unit stamp is, so it just looks perfectly legitimate. It is tied nicely, although faintly, and it was just put on after the registration stamp when they realized the postage wasn't quite enough.
That makes sense to me. This is the back of the envelope with a receiving mark, which is characteristic of registered mail. Notice that it's USPO, United States Post Office. Nowadays, we have the United States Postal Service. Does anyone remember when that changeover occurred? I was kind of surprised to see Post Office in 1975. So the change to Postal Service must have come very shortly after that.
If you look closely at the cancellation on the 5-cent stamp, and you look at the bottom of the curve there of the postage, it looks like it's misaligned. And you can see curves on the inside the stamp going up to the left, which don't seem to be in jibe with the circular. I'm wondering if that's a fake.
You know, I don't agree with that, because what you're seeing there on the left, I'm going to point my cursor at it. I don't know if you can see this, but
right there, yeah.
What you're seeing there is where the cancellation mark drops off the edge of the perforations. It's the it looks as though the cancellation has kind of soaked into the stamp paper a little differently from the way it soaked in on the envelope. So it makes, I mean, this is my take on it. There's again here you can see where the cancellation mark continues on the stamp up in this area. You know, it's possible. I'm going to have to study it more closely. I'll have to get out my magnifier and see. I mean, you could be right that this is an elaborate attempt to fake a cancellation that wasn't there to begin with.
Well,
to make it,
I
come over.
I believe the same
I
hammer was
got
used.
that, but
I believe the
I'll
same
look into
hammer
it.
was used. It looks too, I think there's too many similarities in the hammers to say that this wasn't applied at the time of the original posting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks legit to me.
Okay. Well, there's one more item here. Another letter to the Little Slammer Limited company from Indonesia. This is a curious looking stamp. I couldn't make out what that's supposed to be, and as far as I can tell, what it says in the catalog is that it doesn't show a picture of this stamp, but it mentions a graph. This is a graph of agricultural production. That's all I can make out of it. I would assume that the way these labels worked is that there was maybe a book of these things, and with each label having a successive number on it, so that the postal clerk would simply, take off the next one with the whatever number appeared, and then apply it to the envelope. And it's canceled. I'm not sure why they would need to cancel a registration label, but there it is.
This is how Qatar did it too. We had two labels. The clerk had one that he would put on the envelope, and the second one of the same number. They were always peel and stick side by side on the coil, and the second one would go on the receipt that I would receive back when I turned in my letter. On my receipt, I get the same registration number, and one goes on the envelope.
Okay.
That's
It's
still how they
interesting
do
that
it
the
today.
name of the town is spelled differently here. TJI, and this was CIL. Clearly the same name, but just spelled differently. Silegon or Chilegon. Okay, that's it.